Hello, my name is David Watts and I'm the author of the Sub-Heroes series and a funny little short story called Lovesick. What I'd like to read for you now is the final chapter of Lovesick. So sit back, relax, and here we go. We're trapped! Geoff looks wildly up and down the spice and powdered soup aisle. The security guard is cutting off their escape towards the cold goods section, and the two police officers have the end covered that goes back to the tills. Mark stands next to Geoff, racking his brain for a way out of this. Well, this is a right fine mess. We waited 20 minutes to get into the supermarket, and we have security on us within 30 seconds. It's not my fault, Geoff pleads, shuffling closer to a packet of French onion cuppa soup. Not your fault, challenges Mark. You walked straight up to the lady at the cigarette counter, and I quote, you said, "I'm looking for a lady." Well, of course it sounds bad when you say it like that. Well, that's how it sounded, states Mark. That's why she called security, that's why you ran, and that's why I, like an idiot, chased after you. Now, we're stuck here like a couple of cans of tuna past their expiry date. Gentlemen, there's no need to panic. The younger police officer smiles as if he was greeting an old friend. No one is in trouble here. We'd just like to ask a few questions. Geoff whispers, "Make a break for the security guard. There's only one of him and there's two of us. Let's go." Are you nuts? Mark's reply goes unheard as Geoff sprints as fast as his Ugg boots will allow towards the guard. Mark follows Geoff to stop him, but finds himself grabbed by the guard as the shorter Geoff ducks under his arm and heads into the milk section. Pleading innocence had no effect on the guard. Without breaking pace, Mark is swiftly hauled into the security office, where there is another three rule breakers sitting on mismatched plastic chairs, reflecting on their own misfortune. A pale-haired, thin man looks up at Mark with some amusement. What'd they get you for? For being an idiot and following my mate to the shops, Mark grumbles. Fair enough, the thin man smiles. I tried to grab the last bottle of hand sanitizer, but this guy here thought he saw it first. Another guy sitting next to him sighs. I did see it first. Yeah, but I grabbed it first. Sensing an argument about to break out, Mark looks at the third person in the room. They're wearing an older brown tracksuit with a hood pulled over their face, and Mark spies a Ford keyring jutting out of one of their pockets. So how about you? How'd you get here? A despondent lady's voice speaks. I don't want to talk about it. Oh, wow, the thin man speaks up. You thought you were in trouble. The cops want this lady for stalking. Shuffling away from the lady, Mark inquires, what did she do? Well, I overheard everything she told the security guard. The thin man's eyes sparkle as he tells her a fanciful tale about love, fate, and the pursuit of toilet paper. Immediately after the thin man's words, Mark hatches a plan and shouts for the security guard's attention. Geoff has never had this much exercise in his whole life, or at least not since high school. His new best friend, Adrenaline, was keeping him agile against all odds. Every time the police were about to block off an aisle, he was able to slip past them. For once, being short was working out for him. Or so he thought. After 10 minutes of switching aisles, he finally realises he's being rounded up and is now backed against the frozen pies and pizza aisle. It's the last one in the shop, and he's cornered. The two police appear casually at either end, blocking any escape. The younger of them asks, "Are you done now? We'd just like to talk to you, if that's okay." Geoff contemplates how he arrived in this predicament. Rebacca, the toilet paper, arguments with Mark, being pulled over, and all the running in the park. He decides it was totally worth it. Geoff stands straight, runs his fingers through his messy hair and says aloud, "Okay, you got me, but can I please explain?" "Security to aisle 6, code Tango Papa. Repeat, argument, Tango Papa." Rudely interrupted, Geoff watches the two police as they look at each other. "This is an urgent call for security, aisle 6. The older police officer looks directly at Geoff, and in a voice as deep and gravelly as a Kalgoorlie mine pit, he speaks, "Don't move." Geoff does just that as the police run to aisle 6. He thinks about running, but he can't leave his mate Mark. After all, he did convince his friend to come along on this adventure. The shoppers return to Geoff's aisle, milling about him as if nothing had happened. Geoff, however, is in a world of his own. His journey is over, with no Rebecca, and soon he'll be in custody with Mark. That's right, no Rebecca. No chance of seeing her freckled face, her dark hair and hazel eyes. Just like those hazel eyes under that brown tracksuit hood that's cautiously walking towards Geoff. That brown tracksuit hood being worn by a lady that's about Rebecca's height, with a hint of raven hair and soft freckles that can be seen under the harsh fluorescent lights. Rebecca? Geoff's voice is barely a whisper. Bog-roll boy? The lady replies. Then in unison they both speak. I've been looking for you! Now the word awkward can be overused. Over time its meaning has been distilled to just a feeling of unease or confusion. Rebecca and Geoff's reunion, however, helps us redefine the word. The couple step towards each other. Both have their arms open, and then in a fit of self-awareness they both recoil, look to the ground and then slowly look back up again to meet each other's eyes. You've been looking for me too? Asks Rebecca. Did you just call me bog-roll boy? Replies Geoff, only realising milliseconds after he spoke that was not the most important question at this moment. I'm sorry, Rebecca apologises. That's just what I was calling you before I learnt your name was Geoff. Gathering his thoughts in the same manner as one gathers trampolines in a cyclone, Geoff has a better go at his second question. How did you discover my name? From your friend, Mark, but we've no time. The police will be back here any moment. Geoff's heart sounds a whistle. Lungs contract, legs stand at the ready, and an extra adrenaline pumps through his veins. Knowing that it's about to lose all control of the situation, Geoff's brain sends one last desperate message to his vocal cords. I can't go, Geoff states weakly. The police said... Rebecca cuts in. I have been following you since you left the shops this morning. What? After you allowed me to escape the shops with the toilet paper, I followed you in the bus, in my car. But I didn't have the nerve to knock at your door. I must have agonised there for over half an hour. Then I heard you and your friend Mark arguing about something. By the time I realised it was my note you were arguing about, you were already driving out of the garage. So I followed you back to the shops in my Ford when I was pulled over by the police. I managed to sneak out of the car while they were checking my taillights, and I sprinted across the park to meet you here. Geoff smiles. And here we are. Well, not quite, Rebecca continues. I beat you here and hung about at the toilet paper aisle waiting for you. The security guard was called because the staff thought I looked suspicious. Just like that guy, the one that waits until the last piece of the jigsaw is needed, and then produces it from his pocket. Geoff completes the puzzle. That's where you met Mark, and he helped you escape? Well, kind of. While he was explaining all this to the guard, I slipped out again. Geoff's brain had banked on Rebecca providing some common sense to the situation. Resigning itself to the fact that Hart now had complete control, it found a comfortable patch of neurons to settle down in, cooked up some popcorn, and prepared to watch the rest of the show. We need to run, says Geoff. Rebecca replies hastily, That's what I've been saying! Let's go! With the greatest of caution, Geoff and Rebecca edge out of the frozen food aisle and walk towards the shop entrance. It took Geoff a few minutes to realise that he had grabbed Rebecca's hand. The momentary lapse in concentration almost gave him away. Geoff looks away from his hand to see the police in aisle 6 as they are talking sternly to a group of shoppers who are standing over a toppled tower of toilet paper. Geoff ducks his head and hides his face. The two leave the supermarket without incident, but now they have the small mall and the security office to contend with. Just look natural, only a few steps to go, Geoff talks softly. I know, says Rebecca. Be cool. The security door suddenly opens. Okay, well, actually it opened fairly normally, but thanks to Geoff's and Rebecca's nerves, it all appeared very sudden. The security guard spots him instantly. Hey, you! Mark's face appears from behind the guard. You found each other. Run! Geoff gives a thumbs up as they race towards a news agency on their way to freedom. A loud, commanding voice erupts from behind him. Stop! Geoff looks back to see the two police pushing past shoppers to catch them. Rebecca holds his hand tightly as she dodges past a couple and their trolley. But Geoff wasn't ready and he trips over his own feet onto the cold, hard tiles. Get up, Rebecca pleads. Geoff looks at his torn Ugg boots. I think I twisted my ankle. You go on. Not this time, bog-roll boy, states Rebecca. This time, I'm going to save you. She looks about and sees an old lady standing next to a gopher mobility scooter at the newsagent. "Excuse me," she asks. "Yes, dear?" the old lady responds. "May we borrow your scooter?" An honest look of confusion crosses the lady's face. "No, I need this to get around. What's in it for me?" "Toilet paper!" Geoff shouts while struggling to stand. "Really?" the old lady asks. "How much do you have?" "I've 6 rolls in the car. You can have 3, Rebecca bargains. "I'll take 5. "How about 4? Rebecca asks. "I'd like 6. But you seem to be in a hurry, dear." A thin, winning smile crosses across the lady's face, and Rebecca concedes to 5 rolls. They quickly exchange phone numbers, this time on good solid notepad paper. And in just a few less minutes than it takes for the police to catch up, Geoff and Rebecca are zipping towards the exit on board the old lady's gopher. Rebecca has the handles, while Geoff holds on tightly behind her. But they're not counted on the security guard. As they swished past the mall's glass doors, the security guard stands in their way, blocking the footpath and freedom. "Now you kids wait just here. The cops will want to have a word with you." He stands self-assured with his arms crossed. "Well, I tried," sighs Rebecca. "It's not over yet. Get ready to turn left," whispers Geoff. "What are you planning?" You wouldn't happen to be a gamer at all. Have you ever played GTA?" Rebecca looks at Geoff. "You're not serious." The mall sliding doors open behind them, and the older police officer shouts to the guard, "What are you waiting for? Grab him!" "Now!" shouts Geoff as Rebecca guns the 15cc gopher motor and swerves left, buzzes between 2 wooden bollards, and heads straight into the park. Joggers and picnickers watch in amusement as the scooter buzzes past them, with Geoff and Rebecca shouting "Woohoo!" in their last desperate bid for freedom. Back at the shops, the 2 policemen and security guard are joined by Mark. He looks at them with a beaming smile. "I said this would work." The guard looks at him suspiciously. "I said you idiots were banned from the centre for 3 months after you told me that cockamamie story." Mark replies, "And you can trust me, they won't risk coming back here. I told you if you chased them out and put enough fear in them, they'd leave for good, if it looked real enough." The young police officer looks at his senior partner. "We can still catch them. We know where her Ford is parked." The older police officer smiles for the first time, much to the resistance of the cracks on his face. "There are many interactions that we'll have with the public, son. Some of them are moments that change lives. I say we call this one of them. There's nothing wrong with bringing 2 people together." He looks at his younger partner, who's clearly never seen this side of him before, so he adds, "Yeah, less paperwork, you see." "Yes, less paperwork, same result," the officer agrees. "Best I be off then?" Mark questions. The security guard adds, "Yes, and don't come back." Mark gives a thumbs up as he walks into the park. Against the setting sun, he watches the silhouette of Mark and Rebecca's scooter fade into the shadows of the park's surrounding eucalypt trees. Their hollering and laughter softens into the distance, and he smiles. "She sounds about as mad as you. Good luck, mate." And so ends this tale of fate, love, and toilet paper, where Bog-Roll Boy and Hazel Eyes lived and loved happily ever after. Thank you. That's the end of the whole story. I hope you've enjoyed the read. Check out my website at davidwattsauthor.com and have a great day. See yous.